When you think about Daytona, you think about racing at the top of the line. The Daytona 500, the Rolex 24 Hours, the Daytona 200 road race, and of course, in motocross terms, the Daytona Supercross, which has been running since 1971. But from the very top, at the grassroots, something happens literally at the grassroots. It's amateur Supercross racing, now 5 years deep with them.
Daytona. Does this place have some history? This is home of many champions over the years in the motorsport world. But they've been racing these dirt bike events here since 1973. Pretty cool, isn't it? Now the amateurs of the motocross world join the list of all-time greats to sling the dirt and fly over the world center of racing here at Daytona. Also, this is the GOAT's own rodeo here. He's won here in the dirt at Daytona more than anyone else in history, and he has the reins on this race. It's time to unleash the amateurs into the infamous Daytona Tri-Oval here in Florida. Let's kickstart this show.
The Monster Energy Ricky Carmichael Amateur Supercross Race Show, live from Daytona, is presented by WUSA, the preferred choice of motocross wheel sets for the sport's top racers. Now, here's your host, Jason Wygant.
Welcome to your Monster Energy Ricky Carmichael Amateur Supercross at Daytona Race Show. Jason Wygant, joined by the man who had the vision to get this thing started, Ricky Carmichael himself. Well, it's amazing how quickly this has happened. In 5 years, we've almost tripled the rider count, and we already know how epic Daytona is, so got to be pretty proud about how far things have come in a short amount of time.
Yeah, Jason, first of all, I'm thankful for all the sponsors now. And when we think about you and I here, all the crew, the first year, what we have, like just over a little over 400 entries.
Yeah.
Now we're close to 1,300 entries.
Right.
So none of that would be possible without everyone's hard work at the beginning. And then now, obviously, all the sponsors involved. That really is what it boils down to. And all the participants coming here to participate. So I'm thankful for the manufacturers this year really stepping it up and you know, putting it in their program and scheduled events that they need to come to. So it's cool to see all of our hard work come to fruition, and what a great place to have it here at Daytona International Speedway. A lot of history here, whether it's 4 wheels, 2 wheels, whatever it may be. But nevertheless, I'm very pleased and excited and cool to see.
Yeah, and that's the thing about Daytona. There's such a high-end thing about it's world famous to world center of speed, but your vision was actually for the low end,
right.
The regular rider, to get a chance to experience it and learn.
Well, that's right. I never got a chance to race here at Daytona when I was an amateur, right? And for some reason it just never worked out. But it was always one of those races. I would come down from Tallahassee to watch the pros on Saturdays and wanted to race on Sunday. Never could. So now that I'm in the position to be able to link myself with people like MX Sports and Daytona International Speedway to make this happen, I knew right then I wanted to give these young amateurs and even older amateurs, older guys that come here and race event classes, come here and race at this great facility. It's an honor to be here at Daytona International Speedway and be able to race on these grounds, as I said, with so much history here. So it's cool. I'm happy. And I'm thankful for it, like I said, the opportunity to be able to do that, because I never got to do it.
And now we are starting to see the high end. You mentioned that the manufacturers are starting to bake it in their schedule. The entries are always good, but we know in the amateur races, people want to see a few key guys, the big names, and I think now we're really starting to see the fastest amateurs in the country say, I have to race this event. And then if one goes, they all go, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
If one, it's a trickle down effect.
Yeah.
And you get a couple good guys that come, and the next year, more and more come, and it's so important to, like I said, for the manufacturer support. They see value in it, and when they see value in it, at an amateur level, these parents and guardians and they really look to what the manufacturers support. So it means a lot to them. So they trust the manufacturers. So I'm thankful for them definitely to step up, and also the other sponsors. Monster Energy, Cometic, Fox, Motorcycle Superstore, a whole bunch. There's a list of them. And without them, it truly wouldn't be possible.
Yeah, and I think we would think with your name involved, all respect to you and Daytona, that it would have just been an overnight sensation. And it was so perfect, the timing, hey, the industry's already here. It didn't quite work like that immediately, even with all that going for it.
No, it didn't, and I don't think it was from a sponsor standpoint. I don't think it was, from my standpoint or anybody involved, yourself included, everyone who's been here from day one. I think we had a lot of people going against us, and competition, which is a good thing. But at the end of the day, I believe we did things the right way, and I think we've earned our right. And it was definitely the first couple of years. Definitely, we had some people not wanting to believe in it and going against us. But hard work prevailed, and here we are.
That's cool. And now we get some great racing too. And I know the main thing, like you said, was to learn to race Supercross, and we saw it today. I'm talking not super gnarly whoops or peaked out jumps. 180 bowl turns, riders setting each other up for passes, learning that type of craft that you're only going to get at Supercross.
Well, that's right, and that's what's cool about, this is the biggest amateur Supercross race in the world in my mind. And what is cool is, like you said, you learn that that type of racing. The tracks are a little bit narrower. Okay, you got 180 bowl corners. You got to set up a little more, and we tame it down a little bit. For the riders that might struggle a little more and aren't as talented or doesn't have the the skill that some others do, but there are things out there for the more skilled riders that they have more option to do things. Okay, so there's a fine line there, but nevertheless, I think they get the feeling of it, how much quicker things come up, the shorter, how much shorter the tracks are, and things of that nature. And I think as much as I love outdoors, Supercross is so important, and it's really helping our sport grow as a whole. So to be able to get these riders on a track, a watered down track of what they may race someday in Monster Energy Supercross, they need that. So when they're not, so they're not just thrown into the wolves, if you will, kind of like what we did with the Ricky Carmichael Road to Supercross. Same type of scenario.
Yep. And we'll get to some aerial shots of the track, but I do, of course, want to get your take on last night's racing. You were part of the Fox Sports 1 live broadcast crew. Villopoto really established himself, but it was a gnarly track, man. I guess some of the rain leading in and all that made it tough.
Yeah, it did. We got a lot of rain here last week, and it just saturated the ground. So the ground was really like a sponge, and it was great racing. I mean, not really for the lead. Baggett and Villopoto stumped the show up, but you expect those guys to. I mean, this is a track where they really, they excel everywhere, especially Villopoto. But the Villopoto I saw last night, I was really impressed with the turnaround, I would say, that he's had. Even though he's had a nice points cushion all year long, I just feel like he hasn't been riding as dominant. But at the end of the day, I think he's been riding smart as far as a points scenario goes, okay? So that's what I know and love about what I saw him and the champion that I know that he is. And I mean, he just put it to the field. Great racing behind him from second place to sixth place pretty much all night. We've seen a lot of chaos with Justin Barcia and Malcolm Stewart, and an unfortunate incident with James Stewart, which really put a hurting on his point situation for the series. And then how cool was it to see Blake Baggett, the number 4, win? I thought it was awesome. And that guy, I think he came in under the radar, but he has always been fast here. So all in all, I think it was good. You don't have to make a rough racetrack by design here at Daytona, because just naturally the elements in the terrain get so rough on its own. So you know, with the ground being wet, like you said, and the rain that we got, it really made things really ruddy and challenging.
Yeah. And you probably couldn't make it smooth if you wanted to.
No,
it's going to just become what it becomes.
Right. For sure.
I think we have some aerial footage that we can show of what this place looks like. Right. And that's maybe the thing that people are missing. I didn't know, actually, until I came to announce this race for the first time in 2008, how crazy Daytona is. Even if you've been to NFL stadiums, it is nothing like going to a super speedway.
No. It's, I mean, you can see these, I mean, such a cool place. I love aerial shots of Daytona International Speedway and Daytona Supercross. I mean, you can see there we switched up the track a little bit, made it a little bit shorter. I think that it worked out great for the Pro Supercross. I think it's working out great for the Amateur Supercross. We didn't really, other than tweak the jumps a little bit for the amateurs, we didn't even have to change the layout of the track. So that was important, so they feel like they get to run and ride and race the same layout as the pros did. So that's cool, and it's just a special place. And man, was it rough. You can see the pits there and the garage areas on your screen. It's a great facility, you know, for parking. You're not getting dusted out. You know, with the Halifax emergency center here on site, that's second to none compared to any other amateur track that we go to, and pro track for that matter.
Really.
For the most part. So all those things add up.
Yeah, I mean, you could pit out of the same garage as NASCAR teams use.
Yes.
We had a riders meeting at Victory Lane where Dale Earnhardt Jr. was celebrating 2 weeks ago. You get the full experience.
Yeah.
You're an amateur motocrosser, and you basically get the NASCAR thing 2 weeks after they do it.
Well, it's funny. I'm glad you said that, and that's what it's about. As much as it's a race, it's an experience, you know, for us. I think, you know, when everybody leaves here, I want them to hopefully leave safe, and when they left thinking, man, I had a great experience. And we do that with our RCH Racing activation rig. You know, when the people leave, they're like, man, you know, that one of the coolest things was that they're, you know, the RCH rig, they were giving away stuff. You could hop on the dyno bike, all kinds of cool stuff. So we take that mentality and try to give it to the amateur racers. And you know, these people work hard and spend their hard-earned dollar, and we want to give it. We want to stretch that dollar out as much as we can and give them a fantastic experience.
Absolutely. We'll give you a little experience now. I believe we have some helmet cam footage of what it's like to actually go and take a lap on this track. So we'll show you with our Moto Hose on board, and you can kind of take us through what they're going to deal with in a track like this. You can already see how ruddy it is.
You can see right here coming off the start into a left-handed almost 180. I say maybe 150 degree turn. Okay, they're turning right, and what they're doing is they're going into a right-handed 180. And when they turn right, you're going to do a little single double. Like you see, the guys are getting balled up there.
That's your Supercross experience right there.
Yeah, that's your Supercross experience. You can see everybody congested in one little area. Big double here. That was from the that was a triple from the pro race the night before. We turned it into a double. Safety reasons. They come out here, cool little rhythm section with a big tabletop into this pit, into a wall jump just before the mechanics area. You can see here's the mechanics area here, and I think a lot of the riders are loving this part.
This is unbelievable.
Yeah, jumping into the pit. Some guys are going from here all the way to right there, landing like tripling. Okay, and some guys are just doing double, but nevertheless, you get the feel of it. And I was out here watching some of the riders in a lot of the races today, and it's crazy. I think the track was almost rougher today than it was for the Pro Supercross last night. So fun stuff. Good footage there actually from you know, from the helmet cam, and technology's come a long way to give you guys a good outlook on what it's like here at Daytona Supercross.
Yeah, the helmet cam and the aerial footage we weren't doing 5 years ago either, let alone a live show right now.
Right.
Well, we're going to talk to some racers. We're going to go to commercial. We'll talk to some of the riders that did well today. Good work as always. Nice to work with you.
Thank you.
And we're just getting warmed up. We'll have champions crowned tomorrow, so we're just getting started.
Absolutely. Tomorrow's a big day, the finals, and it should be fun. Weather's good, and how could you not love it? I'm looking forward to it. The laps are going to be long laps, good motos. Track's going to be fun, and hopefully you guys tune in.
All right. We're going to take a short break. We'll be back with some of our star riders of today.
The Monster Energy Ricky Carmichael Daytona Amateur Supercross Live Race Show presented by WUSA will return after these messages.
People ask me all the time, what do I do? I just have fun riding my dirt bike. I may be 27 years old, but I'm still a kid at heart. And I still have the same enthusiasm for riding dirt bikes as I did when I was a kid.
The reason we run the Moto Hose is, number one, they look cool. They're orange. They go with the motorcycle. Plus, they keep the with a silicone-based radiator hose. It keeps the temperature down, keeps the bike running cooler. It's more durable. Say if you're racing, you're riding, a header pipe gets against, bends and gets against the radiator hose. I think with the silicone-based hose, they're more durable, so they're going to handle the rigors and racing and everyday ups and downs of the motocross world.
It's time to return to the action live from Daytona. Welcome back to the Monster Energy Ricky Carmichael Daytona Amateur Supercross Race Show presented by WUSA.
Welcome back to the show. We'll have some interviews with some of our star riders, but first we're going to give you a few highlights to show you exactly how the racing went. We call it our W Top Riders. Now at Coles, we show you some of the highlights here. This is the true Supercross format. So today we had practice, and then we had qualifying races. That's heat races. Tomorrow we'll have some LCQs and our main events. This is Jack Rogers. That's what it says on your screen, but we like to announce him as Jack Rogers, because when you come with an intimidating name like that, you just have the race won before you even get to the line. Here's that big wall jump we were talking about. Jack Rogers, not scared of that. This is one of the earliest races of the day, and he established himself on a Kawasaki as one of the main players going to our mains tomorrow. One level up in the age group, you got Jalik Swole. He was on the gas, looking good on his KTM. He had a couple battles. He's involved in, I think, 4 or even 5 races today. Had a win here, had a second. Also, Jalik was on the gas. And you see how close it is here between him. I think Brock Pappy was in the mix in a couple of his motos as well. So it was really interesting to see those younger 85cc riders mixing it up. Now watch this right here. We're talking about how rough the track was today, and you see that's just what these guys got to deal with as far as the track was breaking down. You had these big ruts. But if you saw the racing yesterday, you know that that's pretty much exactly the way it turns out for the pros. This is Josh Bartosh here. He had awesome starts. The number 43 Honda had a win early. I think was never out of the top 2 in any of his motos, so he was really strong getting into the upper echelon, some of the fastest classes out here. One of the cool things, we even had an all-star class which pitted A and B riders together. Andrew Matuzik, he has really been Mr. 25 plus. Put himself back in the amateur radar actually when Ricky Carmichael himself returned to Loretta Lynn Ranch 2 years ago, and Matuzik was the one that finished second overall to Ricky. Matuzik still doing work in the 25-plus class here, absolutely dominated the heat race in that division today. A longtime Fox Racing rider, does have a title in the 65cc days in his Loretta Lynn days as a youth. Earl the Pearl May, wouldn't think that he'd be eligible to race in the 50-plus class with how fast he's riding. He's got the Carmichael connection, too. Spends a lot of time riding at the Carmichael farm. Earl's a great guy to talk to off the track, just a real laid-back kind of guy. But when he's on the track, it is fierce. He had another, and what is becoming a classic, Earl May and Barry Karsten rivalry. I mean, they spent about 3 laps side by side in one of their heat races. Challen Tennant, what a performance he put in. We had a race where Tennant here in the 71 was battling for the lead early, went down in a heap, got up, I think, at about 5th or 6th, and was able to rally all the way back and win it. So Challen Tennant on that number 71, making the orange machine look good. Trust me, that is not actual speed right there. He was looked more like fast forward than slow motion. And Alexander Fry probably doesn't need much introduction. Maybe the fastest rider in the B classes right now. And here's what was impressive about Fry. In that all-star division, which had A and B riders together, that's kind of a new class they're trying out here, similar to what they have at the Monster Energy Cup. Fry finished, I believe, 3rd. So he beat all but 2 A riders. That's pretty good. We've always known that the fastest B riders can compete against almost anyone at the amateur level, and Fry carried the flag for those riders. Now, maybe the biggest name coming in here was Aaron Plessinger. Remember Carmichael and I talking about it at the top of this show, how the big amateur names are starting to circle this event in their calendar. Plessinger, who was so fast in the B classes at Loretta Lynn's last summer, is doing damage in the A classes now, including in the Arena Cross division on the professional side. Well, he was here on the 57, won big early, but he had to go against Team Green's Nick Gaines, who put it to him in the final, their final showdown later in the day today. But remember, it's just heat races. It'll be really fun to see AP 57 back out there. Nick Gaines and a couple of the other fast A riders, they're going to do their best to try to keep the 57 behind them. So there you go. That is some of our top riders of the day. And that's really interesting. Again, it's just setting you up. That's gate picks, just like in Supercross, earning a spot into the main events tomorrow. And that's when we will crown our champions. And you might say, man, that's a long way to travel and a lot of racing, and it just comes down to a main event? Like, what if you have a first-turn crash or a mechanical problem? You don't have another moto to salvage anything. That's how Supercross works, folks. That's the same way it works out here on Saturday night at Daytona for the pros. You've got to make it count when it counts. And we'll see if these riders that we just talked about before can duplicate that tomorrow when the track's rougher and all the competition from both heat races come together for one main event. So that's cool. We got a rider profile, I believe, coming up here that we're going to get to courtesy of the folks at Motorsport who have just been doling out moto profiles all over the internet. We got a pretty cool one here. Let's send it to our Motorsport rider profile.
Cameron Dow from Dow, Maryland. I'm 15 years old and racing Schoolboy 1 and 2. Daytona is great. It's really fun to be able to watch the pros and then race the same track that they're on. Great atmosphere, good weather in the winter, and it's an all-around fun race to be at. There's a lot of riders that like to be there. Definitely going back a second year will help, and it's just fun to be there. It's fun to race, and the track's awesome. The best thing I like about Daytona is that you can ride the same track that the pros do, and you get to have a taste of what they go through on the track. I had a great first year at Daytona, top 10s most of the race, and I was on small bikes then, so it's going to be a change going to big bikes this year. And it was just an awesome experience to be able to be around that whole atmosphere, and it's a little hectic, but once you get out there, it's fun.
Monster Energy Ricky Carmichael Daytona Amateur Supercross live race show presented by WUSA will return after these messages.
Motocross for me has never been about the fame or, you know, the money. I mean, it's always been about having fun on my dirt bike. First time I ever got on a dirt bike, it was like the gnarliest adrenaline rush that I'd ever experienced, and I wanted to keep doing it. There's so many different emotions and feelings that go into riding that I can't even explain to someone that's never been on a dirt bike. I mean, it's something that you really have to experience to understand.
The reason we run the Moto Hose is, number one, they look cool. They're orange. They go with the motorcycle. Plus, they keep the with a silicone-based radiator hose. It keeps the temperature down, keeps the bike running cooler. It's more durable. Say if you're racing, you're riding, a header pipe gets against, bends and gets against the radiator hose. I think with a silicone-based hose, they're more durable, so they're going to handle the rigors and racing and everyday ups and downs of the motocross world.
It's time to return to the action live from Daytona. Welcome back to the Monster Energy Ricky Carmichael Daytona Amateur Supercross Race Show presented by WUSA.
And we're back here live at Daytona International Speedway. Jason Wygant, joined by Mackenzie Tricker. We have a little bit of pro-amateur mix-up here because we've kicked off the revamped, relaunched, reborn WMX Championship, and your first moto was right here, and you kind of made it boring.
Yeah.
You really did well.
Yeah, it went good today. Got a good start, and then kind of pulled a little gap and just rode my own race. But yeah, it was good.
Yeah. Now, just explain how it's going to work. WMX has 8 rounds, and they're going to kind of be coordinated with a lot of these major amateur events.
Yeah, this year it's a little different. We got more racing, so I like that.
Yep.
But yeah, they've taken a step back in hopes to go a step forward in a few years.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we're going to a lot of the top amateur races. There's a race here, Freestone, then we're going to go to California for 2 rounds, and then up north later in the year. But yeah, so far I think it's going to be a good series.
Yeah, cool. And what did you think? You guys did 11 laps, which is way longer than the other ones because yours was a full points-paying moto. So what did you think of the track and the time that you had out there and all that?
It was good. It actually went a lot quicker than I thought. I was like, oh, God, 11 laps. It's going to be a long time. But it didn't feel like 11 laps. Yeah, it was good. The track was tough and a little sketchy in some spots. But other than that, they've done a good job, and the track's fun. I really like it.
Now, here's what I really want to talk about. what you were doing before you came back. You said you went to Australia. I know you had a really bad knee injury you were dealing with at the end of the year last year, so you went back to get that fixed, and then saved up some money to be able to come back to the U.S. and race.
Yeah, I went home in August, had my knee fixed in the start of September, and then recovered for a few weeks, laid on the couch. Then I went and I got myself a job at Wet n Wild, the water park, and did that. Worked there full time for till December.
What was the job? What exactly did you do there?
Aquatic attendant, so load people on the slides.
You have a whistle?
Yeah, whistle.
Okay.
I also had a job at McDonald's, but I kind of got away from that. I didn't really like that at all. But the Wet n Wild job was more active and fun, and
you're an athlete.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Okay, so how does Australian McDonald's compare to McDonald's, like, for example, right here in Daytona?
I haven't tried it in Daytona. I might have to, but
You've had it in the United States ever?
Yeah. It's good. I like McDonald's. It's pretty good all around the world. I've had it in a number of different countries, but Australia is probably still the best place to get McDonald's.
Now, is that just pure bias, or is it actually different?
I think it's like fresher.
Okay. All right.
I don't know. Yeah. Here, I feel like they make the burgers and they just sit it in.
Yeah.
The heater or whatever, and it could be there for half an hour, and by the time you eat it's gross. So no, everything's made fresh in Australia, and there's so many different fast food chains here.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of good ones like Chick-fil-A, and obviously in California you've got
In-N-Out.
In-N-Out. Yeah, that's awesome. I had that last year. That was awesome. But yeah, McDonald's in Australia is definitely better.
All right. See, this is what you learn by watching this show. You got another race tomorrow. Are you excited about that?
Yeah. I'm excited. Just going to try and do exactly what I did today, and it's a long series, so I'm going to try and win as much as I can, and be prepared for the worst, and hopefully, just go out and win another moto tomorrow. And
you win your titles on your bad days, they say, right?
Yep, exactly. That's it.
Yep. All right, that's Mackenzie Tricker taking the WMX Moto. Congrats.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's history right there, the new revamped WMX format. Do we have a second guest we're going to bring on? All right, we'll send you on your way. Maybe you'll be banging bars with her somewhere at some point. So don't get too angry with each other as you cross paths.
No, we won't.
This will be like a preview of the future, and they get so close up here on the set. So we have our WMX first moto winner from today. That's Mackenzie Tricker, and then we go down into the ranks of the amateurs. We bring Hannah Hodges. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Now, Hannah, they tell me that you're known not only for your speed on the track, obviously you did really well in your motos, but your style too. Now, are they talking about on the bike or off the bike style? Tell me, do you known for your fashion sense, or you mean your riding style? What are they talking about?
Well, I kind of just wear whatever,
Okay. So it's probably the riding style?
So I'd probably say it's riding style.
And where do you get that from? I mean, is that just something that naturally comes, or do you look at like videos and try to copy this and learn that?
At a young age, whenever I started racing a lot, my dad just was always set on style. Like he doesn't want me to ride like a girl, really, and just since a young age, he's been pushing me to have good style. So that's what I've been working on all my life, really.
Not riding like a girl in a good way.
I guess
in a good way, right? So how did it go for you today?
Pretty good. I got a good start, and I was 34th race, so I was pretty late in the day and didn't really see the track. And I'll be first race in the morning, so I won women's and just was trying to ride smart since the track was really rough, and it was pretty good. Now,
I hear a lot of times you'll actually line up on the gate against the boys that just happen to be in your age group. That's a pretty good challenge right there, and you usually do pretty well.
Yeah, I try. I'm racing Super Mini 1 tomorrow, so I'll be out there first race in the morning and just going to try and do my best and hopefully be up there with the top boys.
And what is the experience like getting to race on this type of track and hang out at Daytona? What's that like compared to other events?
Daytona's really cool. I live about 10-15 minutes from here, so that makes it even better.
Yeah.
And just being in this atmosphere with just watching all the pros like last night and just getting to be with all the big factory people, it's a really cool experience.
Yeah, I mean, the Pro Circuit truck is here, for example. Mitch Payton and Bones are hanging out the whole time. A lot of the teams are here still working on bikes from yesterday. So do you think that this is even a chance to maybe, like, get their name out there a little more because they're going to see you in person and stuff like that?
It's really great. There's a bunch of people here to watch, and this event definitely gets a lot of exposure. So it's cool to be here and just hopefully open eyes and just keep working like I am every day.
Cool. All right. Well, watch for the good style. She'll be out there racing against the boys in Super Mini, and I hope you can keep up the good work. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. That's Hannah Hodges, and I believe that's going to be it for our show for our first day. We'll be back with this thing tomorrow, and the real challenge will be to see if I can keep this white shirt on for a third straight day and not get it stained. You cannot believe how careful I was eating lunch and dinner yesterday to not stain this white shirt before the show and to keep it clean all day again. Luckily, we don't have smell-o-vision here because it's going to be 3 straight days. When this event is over and we're done with our live show tomorrow, you can still go to MXPTV.com and get more highlights. There's going to be all kinds of content coming at you from this race. So if you want to see how Hannah Hodges, Mackenzie Tricker, and a lot of the other top amateurs that we talk about looked and did in-depth, MXPTV is going to be the place to get it all week long, including our second live show coming up tomorrow night. For Ricky Carmichael, I'm Jason Wygant. We'll see you tomorrow.
The Monster Energy Ricky Carmichael Daytona Amateur Supercross live race show presented by WUSA will return after these messages.